Hey y'all, Jeremy Tall Trainer here, and I am excited. So we are going live. This is an experiment, but we're going to give you a great workout here. All right, so we're just going to start with just some marching. I'm going to talk you through it just a little bit. All right, so we got to warm up just a little bit while we're getting this going. Okay, so we're marching here, doing a little knee lift, pumping the arms around a little bit here, and so I'm pumped. We're going to try to do this like weekly. I'm scared to even say because it's like that's like a commitment. All right, but we're gonna try to get you some good stuff on a regular basis. All right, so real stuff from real people. All right, so I switch over to the jumping jack. All right, so you can do a little tap jumping jack right in here just to warm things up a little bit. So who am I? I'm Jeremy. I'm known as the tall trainer. I'm not the tallest trainer, but I am fairly tall. I'm 6'3", have long arms. I tell people I can tie my shoes without bending over. Really long arms, so they're pretty impressive. But I've got I got a wife. I got two beautiful daughters there, and we live out in Bloomfield. Oh, you can see them right there. Look at them. Look at that. There's us. There's us, lovely little family. Going right in there. So I'm super blessed, super blessed. So I switch it up to the tap back here. So they'll slide back, reach up, and then switch sides here. So we're just trying to warm up the body a little bit. So I'm a personal trainer. I've been doing this for like 23 years, but haven't wanted to do too much streaming because it's a lot of work. but Bobby and I are going to try to tackle that just for fun. All right, so we're doing a little kickback, crisscross here. Sweeping those shoulders around, kicking the foot back. What we've got for the workout is we've got some basic exercises, for a beginner. Somebody who has not done a whole lot of exercise before. And I've walked through this already in a strength training seminar that we did, a couple weeks back. And so honestly, for the people who went through that, it's gonna be very, very helpful. Very, very helpful there. Wow, I got two things going on here. All right, step to the side, push that butt back. And then step together, step the other side, push the butt back there. All right, so as you're doing that, make sure you're not loading the knee too much. Don't push that knee forward. Push the butt back and stretch out a little bit. So the way the format's gonna go is we have 1 minute, for one exercise, and then we have 30 seconds to get ready for the next exercise. Then we're gonna do a minute on that one, and then we're gonna switch back there. So we have a little Frankenstein kick next here. Back nice and straight here. Right in there, right? So keep the back very straight, very robotic. We want that. They call it Frankenstein because I want you to keep your back straight as part of it. So stay rigid there. All right. So we're gonna do squats. We're gonna do push-ups. We're gonna do a row. We're gonna do another leg exercise, a split squat on both sides, and then we're gonna do a plank. All right. But I'm gonna talk you through the details because it's one thing just to say these things. It's a whole other thing to do them correctly. All right. So it's a little squat hold here. So now we will be doing this for our workout, but this is just warm up, so it doesn't count. It doesn't count right now. All right, for this workout, you don't really need much equipment, but you will need a band. I'll show you an option, so just in case you don't have a band today, but you want to get one of these little tubing things with little handles there. We get ours at Perform Better, performbetter.com. They're the first place safety sleeve tubing, and I really recommend they got the green one here. Green one's really good for the rowing that we're gonna do. All right, so you may want a mat, you may want a chair or a countertop for some of this stuff, or even the stairs. When we get to the push-up there, you can do push-ups on the stairs or a countertop to change the difficulty level there. All right, but I don't like wasting a lot of time talking. I'm gonna talk while we're working out, so let's hit it here. We got squats first, and maybe I can show you any angle I wanted to, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna come right in here, and we're gonna hit that first squat. So coming down, we're gonna hold on this. All right, the reason why we're gonna hold is we gotta work on this position and make it better. A lot of times people will start squatting and their knees will be collapsing in and they'll be shifting forward and their back will be rounding. So what I want you to do is push your butt back, squeeze your knees out, push your chest out. All right, so if you got the 3 outs, butt out, knees out, chest out, you probably got a little bit better squat going on. If you don't, the knees are gonna take on too much pressure. If you've got bad knees on this, you wanna really make sure you're nailing this position really good. So butt's way back, knees are way out, and sometimes it's better to do it over a bench here. All right, so if I do this over this bench, I feel a little more confident to sit back because I'm not gonna fall there. Well, give me that other angle, Bobby. Yeah, the butt angle right there. Sweet. All right, so pushing back in there, squeeze the knees out. All right, so you can really see how I'm working it, okay? Stick your butt out like you're trying to tear your pants, all right? Right in there. All right, so that's that. We're gonna go on to the push-up here. All right, so I'm gonna hit the floor here, coming on down. All right, so you can do it from knees or from toes. We're coming down, shoulders width in the ears, chest out, and pressing back up. Now, I wanna show you another option too, because this a lot of times is still too hard. All right, I'm gonna walk it over here just a little bit. Shoulders width in the ears, chest out, and I'm going off of a bench or like a coffee table. All right, so this or a countertop or the stairs. Now, oh yes, right, I cheated. That was our rest break. It's our rest break. Now we're going. I'll give you the rest break next time. All right, so shoulders width in the ears, chest is out. I knew I needed some time to get ready. All right, so really get that shoulder posture set up well, and then push back up. So a big thing to watch out for is don't go too far down to start with. So come down just a little bit, squeeze your shoulders away from the ears, puff the chest out a little bit, and then come back up. It's almost like you took a big breath of air at the bottom. So you took a big breath of air and blow it on the way up. So come down, shoulders away from the ears, chest is out, pushing back up. It's important to get the shoulders in the right place while you're doing that, because if they're up and forward, it's not gonna be good. So you just keep going on those push-ups. You got a minute to work on them. If you can't do push-ups for a minute, that's okay. You do as many as you can, and then take a little rest. Try to learn a little bit about these things too. Make sure the head goes out in front of the hands. I'm not diving in between the hands as I'm doing this push-up, and you don't want your elbows pegging out to the side either. You want to squeeze in just a little bit while you're doing that. Now we have rest. We're gonna do the rest this time. But we have the tubing row. So I'm gonna do it up on this bench here, just because it's fun to be on this bench. And maybe you can see my squeeze of my shoulder blades better there too. All right, so I'm gonna loop this band around my feet. And starting level on this would be just crisscross the handles, holding on to the straps there. So I loop it around my feet. Don't have your toes angling in, so it's gonna pop off of there. All right, shoulders down, chest is out, and I'm pulling back. Pause here, all right? So pause on this pull, drop your shoulders down, push your chest out, and then come back forward. All right, pause here, shoulders down, chest is out, and then coming back forward. What happens a lot of times is people do this pulling thing, but their shoulders are up and forward, and it's not making them any better at posture. All right, so we want to be getting better at posture as we do this. So shoulders down, chest is out, and it's not about pulling with my hands so much, it's getting my shoulder blades to roll back there. So hopefully, maybe you can even see, if you can see a little squeeze in my shoulder blades, from the back side here, you see maybe a little bit of wrinkle in the shirt as I'm doing that. But shoulders are down, not up, and it can be helpful to check every time. So you go down, my shoulders down, my chest out, okay, good, and then come back forward. All right, so we're gonna try to move slowly on a lot of these, so we have time to improve what we're doing here, all right? So we're moving slowly on the exercise, pausing a lot. All right, now we got a rest break, all right? A little rest here. All right, we're gonna do the split squat next. And I might bring the chair in for this one, all right, to show you what it's like to do with a chair, all right? Because you may wanna do this, especially if you're a beginner at this. You're gonna wanna be able to get, something to hold on to here. All right, and we're gonna lunge in here next to this chair, but we can hold off a second. As we're doing this, we want the knee over the foot here, and then we're gonna lift off that back knee off the ground, and we're sinking. And now I can put some weight on this chair to make it a little bit easier, because sometimes we have a lot of clients starting off, they don't have the flexibility or the strength. So sometimes if you take a little bit of that need for strength away, and work on that flexibility first, getting down in there. If you've got really tough knees, you're gonna start off just fine, and you're gonna hit that mid-range and be like, these are not good for my knee. But you might wanna try starting from the bottom. Start from the bottom and come up just a tiny bit. So I'm really in this good knee bend here. So there's this nice amount of bend here. Usually the knee's a little bit happier, in that level of position versus even being up a little bit higher. Now, the rest of your muscles aren't as happy. They're having a hard time. So try to be on the heel of this front foot. Chest is out, shoulders down. We're sinking in here. Now, once you have this hold, you can add some up and downs. All right, you're dropping in and you're squeezing up. Dropping in, squeezing up here. All right, so just small little movements there. Now we're gonna switch to the other foot there. Maybe I'll give you a different angle just for excitement's sake. Hope it doesn't mess up Bobby real bad or anything. All right, so we're dropping in and we're squeezing up here. All right, so first establish that good position. All right, got fairly straight in the back leg, on the heel. Oh, this is a rest break. Dang it. You do deserve a rest. It's beginner strength, Jeremy. Come on, there's rest breaks. All right, so now we'll go again. All right. We don't have to transition so fast. All right. All right, I'm all excited. I'm all excited. All right, so on the heel. All right, sinking down in here. Knee is not going over toes. You know, it's right over the foot there. All right, dropping in here, stretching out. All right. Now try to have decent shoulder posture here. Don't only hunched up too much, even if we are using the chair a bit. But if we can, we want to try to get hands free on that and actually start working on coming up and down a little bit. All right, so if you're at that level, go for that. If you realize you're not, use that chair. Use that chair for some help there, all right? Coming down and up. Sinking in, squeezing up here. Oh, nice stretch in there. Good squeeze up. Whew. Got 10 seconds. 10 seconds. It's probably burning if you're doing it right. It's probably burning if you're doing it right. If it's even burning more if you did it during the 30-second rest break. All right, good. All right, rest. All right, so next one is going to be the plank here, all right? Now, if you've got really rough shoulders, the push-ups are gonna be pretty rough on that, all right? So you definitely wanna make sure your shoulders are in a good place for push-up, and you make the resistance goes way back for that. But if they're tough enough that you don't like to even do the plank that much, then you're probably gonna wanna do the legs up abs. So you lay on your back, legs up in the air for that. I'll show that a little bit later, but we're gonna start off with a plank here. All right, so you're doing elbows and knees here. Abs are in tight. Lower abdominals pulling in here. All right, so I got to really try to line up posture nice. All right, so we don't want to be popped up with the hips too much here. This is not getting my abs going that much. It's getting my shoulders, you know, it's getting my lower back a little bit. When I drop my hips lower, my abs are invited to the party. Now, if I push my chest out, squeeze those shoulders away from my ears, then the abs are invited just a little bit more. All right, now if I go to toes, I can get some more, but when I'll make sure you don't lock out your legs when you go to toes. Slight bend in the knees will get your lower abdominals to do a little more. All right, there's some other things you can play around with here too, like pressing your hands into the ground a little bit while you're doing this plank. All right, so you're locking it up. Abs are pulled in. The area below your belly button, you're trying to pull in pretty hard while you're doing that. Just a few more seconds. All right, good. All right, so we have a rest. We're gonna take a little bit longer rest break because this is beginner strength. So it's gonna beep at the 30-second, it's gonna beep at the minute, and we're gonna have another 30 seconds. So we've got about 2-minute rest break right here. All right, so this is a great time to get a drink of water. It's a good time to reflect on your life and decide if you've liked the choices you've made up to this point. I feel pretty good. I mean, like, I've made some mistakes, but, you know, and all in all, it's all been for the good. How about you, Bobby? It's pretty good? All right, so we got a little bit longer rest. So we're gonna go back through those exercises. We're gonna do 3 sets of this, all right? Because, you know, doing more repetitions does stimulate the muscles more. If it's your first time doing this and you're like, listen, that felt like a lot, maybe just leave it at that. That first round, listen, you got a flavor in there. 2 days from now, hit it again and maybe try to get 2 rounds in, all right? So that way maybe you're not getting too much soreness all at one time. All right, so we're gonna revisit these again, and I'm gonna go a little bit harder on them, you know, but you don't have to necessarily. But I'm gonna show you what some different levels can look like too, though. All right, so the next one's gonna be, we've got squat, we've got the push-up, we've got that row, we've got that little lunge split squat thing, both sides, and then the plank again, all right? And again, posture is gonna be one of our biggest things. Shoulders down, chest out, pretty much all the time. All right, the most fragile place for our shoulders to be in is up and forward. And so we don't want to be there very often. So all the upper body things for sure, we want to be locked in. We've got about 30 seconds left here. Ready for the beep? Right there. All right, so 30 seconds, and then we're going to start on that squat. All right, so I'm coming up in here. Getting ready for this. Excited. I'm going to try to remember your rest break too. All right, so we're going to get that. We got about 12 seconds. Now the rest is not just because you don't want to be doing anything. It actually does give your body a chance to refresh. If you're getting winded too much, you're not going to be able to do the strength as much. So we want to rest enough so you're not too winded. But it's going to be winding. It's going to be hard. So we're coming down, push the butt back, squeeze the knees out, chest out, butt out. All right. So I'm into this good position. I'm not letting my knees come forward. I'm kind of pushing back. Sometimes it's helpful to even push the hands out in front of you a little bit. Just don't scrunch in your neck when you're doing that. All right, a little push out there. Sometimes even holding a light weight can be helpful for that. All right, so getting that position set up, pretty good can be nice in that squat there. One thing I can do as well, if I sneak this chair right here, all right, if I have really bad knees, I can start off from a set, lean into it, and push the heels down. Or I'm not even leaving the chair, I'm just pushing my heels down, and that can be a little bit easier on the knees sometimes. All right, I have a few clients that we work with, this level, because we need to get the muscles of the hips and the legs going, but we do not need pain in other places. So if you're getting joint pain, knee pain, or shoulder pain, or other kinds of pain while you're doing this, don't do it. If you're getting like muscle work, good, do some of that. All right, so we got push-ups next. All right, so we're hitting the floor here again. Now again, you can do it on the elevated surface, do it on a countertop, things like that. So you got the knees, shoulders away from the ears, and chest out, or you got from toes, which is a version of a plank basically. Push the chest out and press back up. One thing that happens to a lot of people when they're doing push-ups is they drop their head to the ground. All right, keep that head pulled up, puff the chest out more, and then push back up. All right, so squeeze away. Ow! I did it, didn't I? Rest break. All right, rest for 10 seconds. It's nice. Super good. All right, now we're back to work. All right, all right, come down. I get too excited thinking about exercise. All right, squeeze back up. So a nice little pause can help out. While you're pausing, shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. Puff it out like you took a big breath of air, and then push back up. All right, pausing, fixing your posture, adjusting, dropping the knees, making it easy enough so you can do it correctly. All right, but hard enough while you're doing it. You go, oh, that's working. Like my arms are feeling this. Shoulders away, chest is out. Pushing back up. Hold. Oh. Oh. That was grand. Those few push-ups during the rest break really felt like they really took up the next level. But we'll rest for this one. And we have the row coming up next. All right? So we'll bring it back to the bench right here, having a little seat here, throwing it over the top here. All right, feet in together here a little bit. Now, harder version on the row, I can reach through and grab the band in the middle here and pull back. All right, so easier version was crisscross the handles. Harder version, you can reach through, grab that middle. Now I've doubled the band. All right, so squeezing back, shoulders down, chest out. So if it's too easy the first time, you can try it this way, but make sure the shoulders are rolling back as you're doing this, all right? The shoulders squeezing back. Now I feel this a bit more now. I'm like, ooh. All right, I feel some stuff happening here. Now, between the shoulder blades, shoulders down, chest is out, and coming back in. Ideally, you would push your chest out first, and then pull it back. All right, so the shoulder blade is moving. There's kind of two parts to the shoulder. There's the shoulder joint and the shoulder blade. If the shoulder joint does too much, you get rotator cuff issues, you get bicep tendonitis. We want to get that shoulder blade to move on our back. So this down and back in our shoulders is very valuable, and works in real life too, all right? Because most of the time we're slouching too much. So we got a rest break here. So a lot of times we're slouching in this, and it's got nothing to do, with shoulders down and back. And so our row, if you're going to get more excited about one thing than the other, get more excited about rows than push-ups. All right, rows are going to do a lot more for you, than the push-ups will. All right, push-ups are lovely though, and push-ups done with great form can be very beneficial. But if you don't think you have it, I don't know, maybe talk to us. Maybe we'll do a one-on-one session or something at least, just to help you out. All right, so I'm going to do this one without the chair, just so you can see, but you can bring that chair in for this. So we're dropping in, and I'm squeezing up. Now as I'm doing this, I'm not drifting forward and back too much with the knee. All right, I'm staying pretty central on that. All right, pretty central on that because I'm trying to teach my hip to do more of this work. All right, so dropping in here, weights on the heel, and I'm pressing back up. Dropping in here, weights on the heel, and pressing back up. Other things you're looking at, make sure that knee's not hooking across in front. While you're doing this, you go, ooh, that's not good. You need to make sure it's lined up with the toes. Toes are pointing straight ahead as you're doing this. Dropping in here. And you do want to get as low as you can. All right, posture is important, but range of motion is also important. Being able to get that nice drop in while we're doing this is very, very beneficial there. Dropping in, squeezing up. All right, now I'm going to remember the rest break this time. All right, whoo. Good job, buddies. Good job. I like it, I like it. So we're going to get into the other leg here in just a moment, All right, kind of nice to have a rest break between. A lot of times I don't take a rest break between. I go boom, boom, and it's like, whew. But this will allow you to do a better job because you've had at least a little bit of rest. If you're really new at this, like I'm breathing a little bit, you might be breathing a little bit more. You go like, I thought this was strength training, not cardio. Well, I don't know, kind of can be a little bit of cardio. All right, so we're down here. All right, back leg is fairly straight. Again, if your knees are hurting, maybe don't do this one, or do it with that chair, do it with holding down low, but don't do as much of this motion in there. All right, if it's creating pain in a joint, it's not the plan. All right, so don't be like, I'm gonna work through it and try to get the other side of it. No. Let's get a session with a trainer, physical therapist, or something like that to figure out how to do these things well. All right, so dropping on the heel, all right, and you're squeezing up. Dropping the heel here and squeezing up. You can see I'm not traveling forward and back to do this. I'm really trying to focus on coming down and up, and I'm not coming so high that I start bailing back with the knee. I'm dropping in, pressing the heel down, and your legs will be like, why? I really want to come all the way up. It'd be so much better if I came all the way up. All right, a little rest break. Woo! All right, so we got the plank next. That'll be end of round 2. All right, so you go, okay, I'm making it. I'm gonna make it through this. I'm gonna get through this beginner strength. All right? And you will. And the more often you come back to this, the better. The first time that you do a strength training workout, your muscles get the most sore probably ever in your entire life. They don't get as sore the second time you do the same routine. All right, so we're going to hit that plank here. All right, let me show you the legs up abs too. So we got the plank, we know this one, either knees or toes. The legs up abs, it's just a flip around of the same thing. All right, so I got the legs out, that's creating some of the difficulty, so don't go so far that you start arching your back. But again, it's easier on the shoulders for this. All right, so I can still work on good shoulder posture, good head and neck posture, and I'm lowering out, but not so far that my lower back comes off. Because if I go too far, I start arching up here. That is no good. That's no good. We don't want any of that. All right, so lower abdominals pulling in there, but I'm gonna switch back over to the, maybe I'll just stay here. But you're doing the plank too, probably, right? And some of us are still in plank mode. All right, so pull those abdominals in, puff the chest out a bit. Shoulder posture does matter while you're doing this. And a lot of the difficulty should be happening because of the posture you're choosing. You're choosing to pull in, and that's what's creating a lot of the challenge. All right, got a little rest break here. Might just hang out for a second. How you doing? You having a good day? Yeah, it's a pretty good day. Bobby's having a good day. It's a great time. We're just having a blast. A blast here. One more round, all right? So again, we have the longer rest break. I am going to give you that longer rest break. So it's about 2 minutes we're going to hit. So sip your water. I'll show you how to do that. You take your water like this. You take the top off. You put it up to your mouth. You swallow it. Don't spit it back out. It doesn't work. It doesn't hydrate nearly as much if you don't swallow the water. All right, so drinking water can be very, very, very helpful. If you're a beginner on exercise, you might get more dizzy and more woozy, and some of that will be dehydration. Is that you're just not normally hydrated, and you don't notice it if you're not exerting yourself, but when you start exerting yourself, your body goes, ugh. And it's just because you're not drinking water normally. And you should start if you want to do more exertional stuff. And you should want to do more exertional stuff because if you don't use it, you lose it. All right, so I'm going to kind of get up here. Whoosh. All right, and then we got one more try on the squat here. Right about, oh no, not yet. Hold on, excited. All right, 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds, we've got it. All right, so we've got, see, we got what's coming. Third round here. All right, so squats, you got push-ups, you got the row, split squat, and plank. All right, we said 3 rounds, a minute, 30 seconds rest. You know, it's good to go. We're good to go here. It's ready, 3, 2, 1, hit that squat. Squat here. So we're doing a squat hold, and you do get stronger at the range of motion you spend more time in. And so right now what we're working on is we're spending more time in this lower range of motion because usually that's where most people are weak. You know, if we stay up higher, we're like, I can do this all day. You know, maybe not all day, but I can do it longer. But if we start working on lower, so good posture, butt out, knees out, chest out. The longer you hold, the more likely you are to start bending your back too. But try to keep that back up and straight. All right, and then hips back, knees out. But then try to get some extra depth out of that. Go like, can I get 1 inch lower with the same good posture? All right, if I start drifting forward, going lower, that's not good. If I start buckling the knees to go lower, that's not good. Or if I start bending my back, that's not good either. So butt out, knees out, chest out. 10 more seconds. All right, can you do 10? Some of us may be dying out right now. Ooh, get nice and low, chest is out. Maybe you got that reach out maybe. Whoosh. Oh. Now if you get real dizzy, bend back over again, because sometimes you get done with a good hard squat. It does send the room a little bit for you. Ooh. All right. Well, we do have the rest break, because I haven't been remembering the rest break moving to push-ups, because I've been so excited about push-ups. But we do get to rest right now. All right, we'll do it official, the correct way this time. All right, so find your spot for push-ups, either the bench, stairs, countertop, whatever it is. Make sure it's easy enough that you can do it right. All right, easy enough that you can do it right. All right, so I'm setting my hands pretty wide apart. If I go too narrow with the hands, I tend to scrunch my shoulders up too much. So wider tends to open it up a little bit more. All right, so I'm coming down, shoulders away from the ears, chest is out, tucking those shoulders back and pressing back up. Now posture, top priority, then range of motion. So if I get down here and I just can't stop myself from scrunching, only go halfway down and really work on the shoulders squeezing away, chest is out, and it will make the push-up harder. It will make the push-up harder to do it the right way. All right, but it's harder in the right thing. All right, if you find an easier way to do the exercise, usually you're putting more pressure in the joints. All right, you're putting pressure in the joints. I don't know about you, I want my joints around for a while. All right, I don't want to smoke them early. It's a joint joke, you get it? Not that kind of joint. All right, shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. Oof. Good. All right, a little rest. Which brings me up another good point. Don't do drugs. All right? Very, very important. Should be said. All right? All you kids out there. Kids, I mean, the standard person we work with, you know, if you're new to, to us, if you know me already, you kind of know, more of our backstory there. But, the standard person we work with is probably 55 to 75 years old. And a lady usually too. We do have a couple awesome dudes, and we have people at different ages there too. So we have that row next. All right, shoulders down, chest is out. Remember, the easy way is just loop it around and squeeze it back. So I just crisscross the handles there. This handle, opposite hand, pulling back there. The harder way, reach through, grab that middle, and now I've got these like 4 bands that I'm pulling on right now. Shoulders down, chest is out. Really sitting up nice and tall. Oh, boy, that feels good. And we're gonna slouch a lot of the day, all right? So I slouch a bunch. All right, I'm not gonna slouch right now because this is my time to work on it. All right, but when you're not thinking about it, we tend to slouch. So right now, at least some part of the day, at least your strength training time, don't slouch. How often should you strength train? All right, probably about 2 to 3 times a week would be enough in a routine like this. All right, so we got a little rest, 2 to 3 times a week, and we got like 3 sets in. That will get you something going. You'll start to see some improvement on that. All right, this is a beginner routine. There's ways to make it tougher. You start adding weights to things. And there's also ways to make it more interesting, add more variety to it. But these are really great foundational exercises. All right, so you don't need to stray too far from this as you're doing it. All right, so we've got the split squat is next here. So again, this is where you can bring that chair in. All right, dropping in, and I'm going to come up here. Dropping in and coming up. Again, if it's a rough spot, stay low and just work on that. A lot of times that's where we got to strengthen anyway, is the bottom of that split squat. All right. Now, what happens a lot of times to people is their toes, start jamming in the front of their shoe. Their heel comes up, their toe starts jamming in the front of the shoe there. Press that heel down and see if you can almost get a little tap of your toes almost while you're doing this. All right. So we're going to try to get a little more pressure onto the heel. And if you want a lot of fun, try to push down into the heel to come up. And if you really think about that, all of a sudden your leg goes, don't do it that way. That's harder. All right, but we go, listen, I'm here to make you stronger. All right? All right? It's like, I don't want to be stronger. Be like, no, you do. You do. All right? Remember that time when you tripped going up the stairs? Wouldn't happen. Wouldn't have happened if you were stronger. All right, you're like, okay, fine, I want to be stronger. All right, a little rest. So there you go. There you go. Good, buddy. Sorry, so we got a little bit of a rest break here. Catch your breath. And then we're going to do the other side here. All right, now usually, second leg you do is it's going to be more tired than the first one, no matter which one you go with. So if you have a habit of always starting the same way and it really frustrates you that second leg has so much more trouble, start the other way sometimes. All right, dropping in and coming up. Again, not moving that knee around too much. Good posture set. Holding it real nice in here. Dropping in, squeezing up. Dropping in, squeezing up. All right? So things I'm thinking about, my heel. Think about chest is out. Pushing down through the heel to come up. Make sure that knee is pointing straight ahead. Things are lined up really good. Exercise, if you're doing it really well, should require some thought. All right, you're thinking a little bit. Besides just ow, okay? Besides just ow, you're also having thoughts of trying to do a really good job with it, because doing a better job makes the work land in the right spot. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Should be getting pretty toasty here. Should have already gotten toasty. I'm sure you're already dying. It's fine. All right, and up. Woo. All right, we're just about there. We're just about there. You've almost gotten it. All right, so we have the plank. The plank is our last one. All right, so we're gonna hit that floor, working on bracing the abs. Remember, if you're doing plank from the toes, slight bend in the knees allows you to use your abdominals, your lower abdominals more, because if I go straight, it tends to arch my back. I get hip flexors, lower back too much. So slight bend, I can really target those lower abdominals. Here we go. Party's on. Shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. Looking straight ahead here. Try not to drop my head, even on this one. So try and keep that head lined up with the rest of me. Abs are in tight, you got a slight bend in the knees, or you're on your knees for this one, all right? Hips are low though. Hips are low. All right, if I want more out of this, I could push my hands into the ground. That'll get a little more flex in the abs. I can almost imagine like I'm pulling my hands back towards me, like I'm pulling the elbows towards me a little bit, like I'm sliding them along the ground just a little bit here. Don't slide them, but like you're kind of getting at a little bit of that angle. And that will require a little more lower abdominal. And then I want you to pull hard with the lower abdominals, all right? You got about 15 seconds. Whew. Hard pull in, as hard as you can, like you're trying to pull your stomach away from your waistband. Whew. Hard pull, almost there. Got it. Whew. We did it. We did it. High five. High five. We got it. So we're going to jump into some stretches here. All right. So we're going to do, 30 seconds on each of these. And I wanted to chat with you a little bit, but there was something I was going to read and print out, but I forgot to do that. Dang it. All right. This is the first time, so it's not bad. We're doing pretty good. All right. All right. So we're going to start off with that knee pull-in stretch. All right. So here, if you're really starting off on this stuff and you want to do a good job, you do want to stretch at the end, okay? You worked real hard. This stretch will really help to make sure that you're not too sore and that your body really does land in some good progress. All right, so chest is out, pulling this knee in, other leg is flat along the ground. A lot of times I'll pull the toes up there too, pull them back towards me as I'm doing this one. Make sure there's a little bit of space on your lower back. You're not smashing your lower back into the ground on this one. All right, tailbone's digging in, but not your back. All right, switch sides. All right, so we're pulling it in towards you there. Shoulders away from the ears, chest is out. I got that set up real nice. All right, so what next? What next? All right, so we'll stretch, okay? That's what we do next. All right, but hydrate, you know, all those good things. When you're doing strength training, most of the time people are doing it. Go and switch. We're gonna cross the ankle over the knee, reach through, grab that bottom leg and pull it towards you. So I'm reaching through the window on this one, reaching around and grab that bottom leg by the thigh and pull it towards you. Most people are trying to do strength training to build muscle, not gobs and gobs of muscle, but muscle so that they're not quite so frail anymore, all right? Muscle so that the metabolism works again, all right? You know, and muscle that, you know, it lands nice on your body. It does look better when you got muscles, all right? Other side, you look younger when you have more muscles, all right? Reach through, grab that bottom leg, pull it towards you, and they get more important as we get older. They get more important as we get older, all right? So the muscles, every decade that goes by, you start to lose muscle. So if you can keep it, if you can keep muscle, it is like you are anti-aging right there. You're holding back time, you know, and you can function so much better than if you didn't do that work. All right, so we're going to stand up. We're going to get the tricep here. Reach over, pat yourself on the back. Grab on the elbow, point it up in the air. Getting that tricep stretch here. You're doing good. There's always when I do this when I'm like, oh, my shirts aren't long enough. You know, yeah. When you go overhead, typically they aren't unless you have crazy long shirts. All right, so all right, other side. So I'm patting myself on the back, taking the other hand, point that elbow up in the air, stretching along the back side of the arm here. Now, some people aren't going to feel this one a whole lot. All right, so you're just not going to feel this one just because of how flexible you are. All right, but enjoy that. Now, someday when you're sore, you might feel it some more. You'll get a little bit more out of it. All right, right about there. We'll do a hamstring stretch here. So we're going to kick one foot out here just a little bit, not too far. I'm keeping most of the weight on this back leg, chest out, butt out, and I'm tipping towards it until I start to feel that stretch along the back of the leg. Now don't bend towards it, just tip towards it. All right, so keep the ribs out like you're trying to finish the race first. All right, and then tipping towards it to get that hamstring stretch. If you really want to get it really horrible, pull your toes back towards you. Oh yeah. All right, other side. So switching over here, chest out, butt out, toes pulled back, chest is out, trying to get straight back here. All right, so you push that chest out, push that tailbone out, straightening that leg a little bit, tipping into it. And hamstring is very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable thing to stretch. So if it doesn't feel comfortable while you're doing it, it's probably right, but it's all along this back side of the body. So from the back of the knee, maybe down the leg a little bit here, up into the hip there, right? And the tailbone, the glute area. All right, so we're gonna do a little hip stretch here. So we're doing a little kick back here and push this hip forward. So a little stretch of the hip flexor. All right, right in here. All right, so we're stretching out that beauty right there. Now, hip position matters while you're doing this one. Sometimes the hips are tipped forward. You want to kind of tip them up a little bit. So if you had a really cool belt buckle, you're tipping it up so you could take a look at it. All right, and then you're pressing that leg back, and that's where you start feeling that stretch in there. If I let my hips tip forward, I'm not going to feel it as much. All right, so switching it up here. So tip the hips up towards you, press that leg back behind you a little bit, and then you get that stretch in there. You can even flex the glute, the butt on this side, push the hip forward to get a better stretch into that hip flexor there. All right, oof, nice. Now these get really, really tight from sitting, right? You could tell like this muscle, if I'm sitting, is not getting a whole lot of stretch. And so if you're not taking through big range of motion, it's not getting stretched very often at all. All right, so we do a quad stretch next. I'm gonna come back here a little bit. All right, use the wall to kind of balance off of just a little bit. I'm pointing the knee down, stomach's pulled in because the back's gonna try to arch. Push the hips forward there. All right, so knee points down, hips push forward. All right, so good position on that. Really nailing things good. All right, we're going to switch sides here. All right, so I'm going to grab the other foot there, Oh, I got a long beep here. All right, grab a hold, knee points down, abs in tight, push the hips forward. So it's not just about pulling the foot towards your butt, all right? It's about pointing that knee down, abs in tight, pushing the hips forward, and you'll feel a lot more stretch on the top of the thigh. All right, you're gonna feel a lot more stretch along the top of the thigh there. All right. All right, good. Last one here is gonna be, actually no, it's not, there's two more. All right, I got the calf stretch. I'm gonna go up the wall like I'm getting arrested here. All right, press one foot back behind you, one foot's near the wall. That foot that's behind me, I'm pressing that heel towards the ground there, straighten that back leg. I'm bending this front knee, so that I get a little more pressure, a little more angle into that back leg, and I'm stretching that lower leg muscle. Make sure those toes are pointing straight ahead while you're doing it. If they turn out, you're not gonna get as much stretch. So keep them straight ahead, you'll feel a lot more stretch as you do it that way. All right, so switch sides. All right, pressing in here, toes straight ahead or slightly turned in, hips drifting forward a little bit. All right, we're sinking in there. Ooh, yeah. Gets a good stretch there. So bending that front knee if you need to get more. You can even push into the wall a little harder to get more pressure into that back foot there. All right, the last one is the chest stretch. We're gonna do one side at a time. So I'm putting a hand up on the wall, about head height, shoulders down, chest is out, and I'm turning away from it a little bit. All right? So my elbow is about the same height as the shoulder. As I'm doing this, push the chest out. It's important that if the chest is out, you don't want to be scrunched up in here while you're doing this. Push the chest out and turn away like you're doing some sort of ballet thing or something. La, la, la. All right? So you're getting that good stretch across. All right, so if I switch it up, same side here, shoulder down, chest out, and you're reaching out. La, la, la. Right there, all right? Shoulder down, chest out though, all right? So don't miss out on that because otherwise you're not gonna get the stretch across the chest right. All right, it's gonna be up into the shoulder too much. We want to move it across the chest. The closer it is to the midline of your chest while you're stretching, the better. The better quality of a stretch it is. All right. Now, Bobby, I don't know if you could pull up that one slide with the, it's got the little scripture on there. I wanted to finish off with a little thought on that. It says, in 1 Corinthians 6:20, it says, you were bought at a price, therefore honor God with your bodies. And so for me, when I think about that one, I thought there's so many things that you could pull out of, any scripture that is so valuable, but for that one particularly, I think of stewardship, as like we are bought at a price, something was paid for us, it's like we don't want to take that gift and use it kind of silly. We have this gift of life, and we want to do well with it. We want to be good stewards. We are given the life to steward and to do good with it, to bring some good out of it. And so one of the ways we can do that is by taking care of our physical health. All right, so our body, be a steward of the body. So doing this work, is valuable. If the work becomes the main purpose, we lose sight of it. So like, so you see some people get too involved in fitness, and fitness is what they are doing. But if fitness is something that allows you to do the other stuff that you do better, it keeps you in a better mind frame, it keeps you in better health, it keeps the pain away, it allows you to serve more, then you're really using fitness well. All right, and that's how we want to really focus on this, the stewardship of our bodies, as we do this work. So I want to just end us off with a prayer. You don't have to pray along. You can turn it off now if you want to. But I'm going to pray a quick prayer for us. God, thank you for these bodies. Help us to have the discipline. That's not a dirty word. The discipline to do this stewardship thing, that we take care of the things that are given to us so that they last longer. They last longer, they work better, and they bring more value. So help us definitely to apply that to our bodies. So those of us who maybe undervalue ourselves, help us to value ourselves enough, not overvalue ourselves, but to value ourselves enough that we take care of ourselves and we realize that that is a pathway, to serving others and to accomplishing, the missions that you've given us in this world. Help us to be safe, help us to stay strong. And those of us who are going through some really hard stuff right now, I just ask that we feel your comfort, in the storms and the dark places. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. All right, there you go. hopefully I see you again. All right, we'll try it. Hopefully we'll get better and better at this. So I think it was actually pretty good, not too bad. We'll try to improve the quality of what we're doing and bring you more interesting things and different stuff and variations on some things. Of course, I'd always like to see you in person, so we'd love to train you in person if you're close by enough for that. But if not, maybe these can be a little bit of value, for you. All right, so if something hurt really funky, talk to the doctor, get a personal trainer, get a physical therapist on it. But otherwise, try to revisit this again. All right, try to come back. Give it a day or two, but then try to hit it again. If you work out less than once a week, you will be just as sore every time you do it. All right, so don't do that. Don't do that. At least once a week, if not multiple. So you go make a commitment. So I just made myself sore. I'm going to do this at least next week. At least I'm going to do that, and you're not going to be as sore, and you're going to make progress. All right? Have fun. Be safe. God bless.